What if I told you that the person who failed 127 times is now worth $120 million? What if I told you that every single one of those failures was actually building the foundation for unstoppable success? Stay until the end of this video because this story might change everything you thought you knew about failure. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever experienced so much defeat that you began thinking achievement wasn't in your destiny? Perhaps you've attempted to create something, but each effort resulted in letdown. Perhaps you've approached countless opportunities, music, only to receive rejection each time. Or perhaps, music, you're at that breaking point right now, worn out, conquered, questioning whether you should simply surrender. If you've ever experienced like fate is signaling you to stop, then this narrative is meant for you. Because there once existed a person who experienced defeat 127 occasions, before achieving triumph once. And that single triumph, music, transformed not only his existence, but the existence of countless others. Remain with me through the conclusion because what you're going to discover might be precisely what you require to continue forward. In a confined residence in a crowded metropolis, there resided a 32-year-old creator named Chen. Daniel wasn't brought into prosperity. He didn't possess influential relationships or an elite schooling. What he possessed was an aspiration to develop something that would benefit humanity. For 5 years, Daniel had been developing a compact water filtration apparatus. Something straightforward, economical that could assist populations without clean water availability. Something that could preserve existence. But Daniel had one enormous obstacle. He continued experiencing defeat. Every model malfunctioned. Every presentation to financiers was declined. Every opportunity he pursued ended in his disappointment. His residence walls were filled with declination correspondence. 23 corporations said number 14 financiers labeled music, his concept unfeasible. 5 producers informed him it couldn't be accomplished. Music, and his model had experienced quality examination failure 49 occasions. When individuals inquired, "Daniel, how's your creation progressing?" he would display a forced grin and respond, "Music, making progress." But internally, he was suffocating in uncertainty. His elder sibling, a prosperous financial professional, music, would appear and state, "Daniel, you've attempted for 5 years. Perhaps it's moment to obtain a legitimate occupation. You're 32. You possess no funds, music, no profession, only unsuccessful trials." His parent, concerned about his trajectory, would softly propose, "Perhaps you should seek employment at corporations. Utilize your technical degree appropriately." Even his romantic partner of 3 years had departed from him 6 months prior, expressing, "I cannot observe you damage yourself with this unattainable aspiration anymore." Daniel remained isolated in his residence every evening, encircled by damaged models and declination correspondence. The burden of defeat compressed down on him, music, like a tangible pressure. He murmured to himself, "Music, perhaps they're correct. Perhaps I'm simply living in fantasy." But each occasion he chose to surrender, he would recall the information report that initiated everything. A settlement where youngsters perished from consuming polluted water. That recollection would spark something in his music core and he would attempt again. One additional model, one additional presentation, one additional music effort. Defeat number 98, 99, 100. On a frigid Tuesday dawn in November, Daniel accessed his computer to examine his financial account. $247 existing, 5 years of funds exhausted. Music, he possessed 1 month's housing payment left. No occupation, no possibilities. And that dawn, he had recently obtained his 127th declination, this occasion from the final financier on his roster. The message was courteous but devastating. "While we value your dedication, we don't perceive a practical marketplace for this creation. We desire you the finest in your upcoming pursuits." Daniel shut his computer gradually. He observed around his residence. 5 years of his existence, consolidated into this miniature space full of shattered aspirations and unsuccessful efforts. He rose up, proceeded to his workspace and grasped model number 127. He held it in his grasp, this object that had absorbed his complete mature existence. And for the initial occasion, he experienced nothing but weariness. "I'm finished," he murmured. I genuinely attempted, but I'm finished." He positioned the model in a container, secured it with adhesive, and inscribed on surface. Concluding edition, November 2019. That afternoon, Daniel revised his employment documentation for the initial occasion in 5 years. He submitted to 3 technical positions at corporations he had previously promised never to join. Secure positions, monotonous positions, but positions that would cover the housing payment. He experienced something within him expire. Not spectacularly, but silently, like a flame exhausting its fuel. That evening, there was a sound on his entrance. It was Mr. Park, Music, the aged Korean gentleman who possessed the small electronics maintenance establishment downstairs. Daniel had periodically assisted him repair objects, and they had developed friendship. Mr. Park remained in the entrance holding a small parcel. "I discovered this in the corridor," he stated. "I believe it's for you." But then he observed Daniel's expression, the hollowness in his gaze. "Descend downstairs," Mr. Park stated softly. "Music, share tea with me." Daniel nearly declined, but something in the elderly gentleman's tone, "Music?" caused him to accompany. Mr. Park's establishment smelled like metal and aged literature. The walls were filled with restored electronics and images from his existence in Korea. He distributed 2 cups of tea and positioned across from Daniel. "You appear like someone who has surrendered," Mr. Park stated peacefully. Daniel expressed bitterly, "Is it that apparent?" "Music, I've witnessed that expression previously," Mr. Park responded. "I displayed it myself numerous years prior." He rose up and proceeded to a small vegetation in the area, a bamboo growth in a plain container. "Daniel, do you understand about Chinese bamboo?" Daniel moved his head negatively. Mr. Park contacted the vegetation softly. "When you cultivate Chinese bamboo, something extraordinary occurs. You hydrate it every day. You nurture it. You provide it illumination. But for the initial year, nothing occurs. No development, only earth. Music," he stopped, allowing the statements to register. "The subsequent year, still nothing. You continue hydrating, continue nurturing. Music, but the bamboo remains concealed. 3rd year, 4th year, music, the identical. 5 years transpire and you possess nothing to demonstrate for your dedication. Music, only soil and concealed roots." Mr. Park observed directly at Daniel. "But in the 5th year, something extraordinary occurs. The bamboo emerges upward. In 6 weeks, it develops 90 feet elevated. Now, Daniel, allow me to inquire of you, did the bamboo develop 90 feet in 6 weeks? Or did it develop 90 feet in 5 years? Daniel separated his mouth to respond then. Halted. "It developed in 5 years, Mr. Park proceeded. "Those 5 years when nothing was apparent, the bamboo was constructing a root structure so powerful, so music, profound, so comprehensive that when it was prepared, nothing could prevent its development." He positioned back down and observed at Daniel with vision that had witnessed decades of challenge. "You believe you've been experiencing defeat for 5 years, but I don't perceive defeat. I perceive roots developing. Every declined model instructed you what doesn't function. Every shut opportunity instructed you resilience. Every individual who stated no instructed you to improve your presentation. You weren't experiencing defeat. You were constructing a base so powerful that when triumph arrives, it will be unstoppable." Mr. Park inclined forward. "Here's what I discovered after 40 years in commerce. Triumph is not about preventing defeat. Triumph is about declining to allow defeat be permanent." He positioned his grasp on Daniel's shoulder. "You possess 2 selections. You can surrender now and consume the remainder of your existence questioning what if. Or you can attempt one additional occasion. Not because you understand it will function, but because you understand you'll experience regret if you don't." Music. Thomas Edison experienced defeat 10,000 occasions before creating the illumination device. Colonel Sanders was declined 1,009 occasions before someone stated yes to his poultry formula. J.K. Rowling was declined by 12 publishers before Harry Potter became a sensation. They all possessed one element in similarity. They attempted one additional occasion when everyone informed them to cease. Daniel remained in quietness, experiencing something reigniting in his core. Not optimism. Music, it was more profound than optimism. It was determination. One additional occasion, he murmured. Music. Daniel proceeded back to his residence that evening with moisture in his vision. Music, not moisture of conquest, moisture of resolve. He accessed the container he had secured earlier. Model 127, his concluding edition. Not concluding, music, he stated audibly. One additional occasion. But this occasion, something was, music, altered. Daniel wasn't functioning from desperation. He was functioning from knowledge. 5 years of defeats had instructed him elements no textbook could. It understood precisely which substances wouldn't function, which structures had critical defects, which production procedures were excessively expensive. Every defeat had been an instruction, and now those instructions assembled together like puzzle components. At 3 a.m. on a Thursday dawn, 3 weeks after his dialogue with Mr. Park, Daniel made an adjustment to the filtration layer. It was a minor modification, nearly concealed, motivated by music, an unsuccessful model from 2 years prior. He executed the examination. The apparatus functioned. He executed it again. Functioned. He executed it 15 additional occasions. It functioned every single occasion. Daniel positioned on the surface of his residence, holding the apparatus in his shaking grasp and wept. Music, 5 years, 127 defeats, countless declinations, connections lost, funds exhausted, and finally, it functioned. He transmitted a video demonstration to one concluding financier. Music, someone he had approached a year prior, who had been courteous but disinterested. This occasion, the reaction arrived in 48 hours. We require to communicate. Music, are you accessible tomorrow? That gathering led to financing. That financing led to production. That production, music, led to dispersal. 18 months afterward, Daniel's water filtration apparatus was being utilized in 47 nations. It had supplied clean water to over 2 million individuals. The corporation was assessed at $120 million. But when journalists inquired Daniel about his rapid triumph, he would grin and state, "It required me 5 years and 127 defeats to become a rapid triumph." Daniel appeared at Mr. Park's establishment with it. Present, a bordered photograph of a settlement in Kenya where, music, his apparatuses were preserving existence, and a handwritten message. Appreciation for instructing me about bamboo. I finally developed my roots. Mr. Park suspended it on his wall and simply stated, "I always understood you would." My companion, Daniel's narrative is not only about creating a water purifier. It's about you. It's about every individual who has attempted and experienced defeat. Every individual who has received no so many occasions they began to accept it. Every individual positioned at the boundary of surrendering. Here's what I require you to comprehend. First, defeat is not the contrary of triumph. Defeat is component of triumph. Every no is rehearsal for the yes that's approaching. Every obstacle is instructing you something fundamental. You're not experiencing defeat. You're acquiring knowledge at a velocity most individuals will never withstand. Second, the bamboo doesn't develop for 5 years, then suddenly manifests. It's developing the complete duration. You simply can't perceive it. Your dedication is not squandered. Your labor is not concealed. Music, you're constructing roots. And when your advancement arrives, it will be unstoppable because your base is unbreakable. Third, the only genuine defeat is surrendering before your advancement. You possess no concept how proximate you are. Daniel was one model away from triumph after 127 defeats. What if he had halted at 126? Music, what if he had halted at 100? Every individual who achieved triumph did so because they attempted one additional occasion when it appeared impossible. So here's what I desire you to execute. If you're confronting defeat right now, you're worn out, if you're contemplating about surrendering, I desire you to inquire yourself one inquiry. What if my advancement is one additional effort away? Not 10 efforts, not 100, only one. Music additional. Select to attempt one additional occasion. Improve your strategy with what you've acquired. Implement the instructions from your defeats and take one additional movement forward. Because the distinction between individuals who achieve triumph and individuals who don't is not ability. It's not fortune. It's not relationships. It's endurance. It's the refusal to allow defeat be permanent. Music, you are more proximate than you believe. Your bamboo is developing roots. Your advancement is constructing in the concealed locations. Don't surrender before the extraordinary occurs. If this narrative reminded you why you initiated, if it provided you the power to attempt one additional occasion, provide this video a like and distribute it with someone who's about to surrender. Allow them to understand they're not isolated. Submit a comment informing me how many occasions have you experienced defeat at something you declined to surrender. Let's honor endurance together. Let's demonstrate that the only defeat is surrendering. I'll be back with another narrative to energize your path. Until then, recall this. Every specialist was once a novice who declined to surrender. Every triumph narrative is only a defeat narrative that didn't conclude yet. Your advancement is approaching. Don't halt now. And if this story sparked something inside you, if you found even a single sentence that resonated with your journey, show some love by smashing that like button. It tells me these stories matter to you. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a story that could change your perspective. Drop a comment below and tell me, what's the one thing you refuse to give up on, no matter how many times you've failed? I read every single comment, and your story might inspire the next video. Share this with someone who needs to hear it today. Sometimes, one video at the right moment can change everything. Thank you for watching, and remember, your breakthrough is closer than you think. See you in the next one.